Hello everybody, welcome to this instruction video. In this video I'd like to show you how to do part 1 of the Elements crochet along. Elements has been designed by Sandra Kuijer from Hooks and Yarn. For part 1 I'll be using Scheepjes stonewashed yarn in combination with a 4mm crochet hook. There are a few interesting parts in this pattern, especially to get this beautiful textured design. So I'll be showing you step by step how to make the rounds of part 1 that you get this nice textured design. Thank you for watching and I hope it's a useful video for you. Round 1, I'm just going to make a slip knot. Put this on my hook. With a slip knot on my hook, I'm going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So chain 5, then come to that first chain and close with a slip stitch. This forms a little ring. Opening you see there. That center opening. We're going to work in that opening in the next rounds. Round 2. So we're now going to work in that little ring. Start with a chain 3. 1, 2, 3. This chain 3 counts as my first double crochet. Now I'm going to make another double crochet in the ring. In that space make another double crochet. Chain 2. This chain 2 is your first corner. Again in the ring 2 double crochets. 1 and 2 double crochets. Chain 2, a new corner. Going to repeat 2 more times. So it's 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, chain 2, and then 2 double crochets, 1 and 2 double crochets in the ring, chain 2, 2. And now you can close on your first chain 3 with a slip stitch. So here's the chain 3, so they're on the top. Just insert in there. Close with a slip stitch. So what you now have, if you just look at your work, is you've got 4 edges with 2 double crochets on each edge and 4 corners with a chain 2. Round 3, we're first going to move to the next chain 2 corner space. So in the next double crochet here I'm just going to make a slip stitch. And then make a slip stitch into the chain 2 space. So now I've just moved over and now I'm in the chain 2 space. Now I'm going to make a granny corner stitch. I'm going to start with, this is actually a starting granny corner, let me call it that. I'm going to start with a chain 3. This is my first double crochet. Followed by a treble, worked not in the chain 2 space, but here in the ring we started with, in between, if I just open that up, that space there. So in between these 2 double crochets you see here on either side, in between there, in the starting chain 5 ring, I'm going to make a treble. And we're going to do that and leave the chain 2 space here to the back unworked. So twice over, then in that space, see how I'm going through the chain space and making sure to leave my chain 2 space here to the back. You can see how that's uncovered, so I'm leaving that open. Grab your yarn, bring everything to the front and then complete the treble. So now the treble, you can see it's in front of the chain 2 space, and it's worked here in the ring from the we started with. Now come back up to the chain 2 space, work a double crochet in there. Followed by a chain 2 and another double crochet. That's your new corner you just made. The double, chain 2 and the double. That's the new corner. We're going to make symmetric what we're doing, so we're going to do another of these trebles here in this chain 5 ring from the beginning. So I'm just going to open everything up, and if you're right-handed like me, you're going to be to the left of the treble you just made. If you're left-handed, it's going to be on the right. Twice over. You see where I'm opening that up, that's where you're going to make the stitch. You're going to have to push your hook in there and kind of make sure that everything's out of the way, because you also want to leave your chain 2 loop to the back, leave that unworked, and then complete the treble. Then behind the treble, still in the chain 2 space, you're going to have to kind of push everything to the side, make another double crochet. So you see here, that's the first stitch. Sorry, that's the first stitch. You don't want that one. Really in the chain 2 space. And that's a granny corner that we're going to be making. And we're actually going to be making a lot of these granny corners. That's a double crochet, a treble, 1 row down, a double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, again a treble, 1 row down, and another double crochet. The double crochets are all in the round you're currently in, and the trebles are 1 row down. Skipping the next 2 stitches, those 2 double crochets, and then we go to the next chain 2 corner space where we're going to do exactly the same as we just did here. I'll show you again. So doing everything that we just did in the new corner and the next corner also. Skipping these 2 stitches, go to the next chain 2 corner space and work a double crochet. In the ring, again, if you just open that up, so between these 2 doubles in that space there, I'm going to work a treble. Being sure to miss the chain 2 space, to leave that unworked, complete the treble. Then the chain 2 space again and work a double. Chain 2 and work another double. That's your new corner. So the chain 2 there. You need to come down and work another treble. I'm just going to open that up. It's that space there. So to the left of the treble for me. And complete the treble. One last double crochet in the chain 2 space, being sure to, so you actually are not working in that double crochet, you're working to the left in the treble, in the chain 2 space, just left from that treble. That's the second corner. So now you've worked again a granny corner stitch. I'm going to do this 2 more times. I'll show you once more quickly, and this last one I'll go to skip, and then you just close on the chain 3. So I'll show you once more quickly. Skipping these 2 stitches in the chain 2 space. Work a double, then a treble in between those 2 doubles, and I'm just going to open that up that I can really get into that position. then in the chain 2, a double, chain 2 and a double, treble again in the chain 5 ring, and while you do so be sure not to snag anything else. It's just over the chain 5, nothing else, and then another double crochet in the ring, in that chain 2 space. Now I've done this 3 times. Do it one last time in that corner here, in that last corner, and then you can close on the chain 3 there with a slip stitch. Round 4. Round 4 we're again going to start by just moving to the chain 2 space. You see I'm currently in that chain 3 there with a slip stitch. I'm just going to move 1 stitch, move 2 stitches, move 3 positions to the chain 2 corner space. And in here I'm again going to make a granny corner. It's exactly the same as the previous round. So I'm starting with a chain 3. Now we're going to make that treble. Remember that treble we made here in the ring last time? Now we're not going to do the ring. We're going to come one round down. And here in the chain 2 space, 1 round down, there we're going to work the treble. Again in between these 2 double crochets. So if I open this up, you see there, twice over for that treble. In that chain 2 space from the previous round, work the treble. Just remove this hook, it's in the way. 2 and the treble. Now come back to the chain 2 space and work a double crochet, chain 2 and a double crochet. That's your new corner, that chain 2 space. We're going to make another treble next to this one in that same space. So here in between, if you open it up, in that space there, between the treble and the double crochet, going to make another treble. Twice over. Grab the yarn, making sure to leave the chain 2 space unworked. You don't want to accidentally catch that. And then there's one more double crochet in the chain 2 space. See, I'm just pushing all those stitches to the side to just get in there properly. And that was the corner. After this corner, the granny corner we just worked, we're going to go to the straight edge. And if you look here at your stitches, you see you have these 3 stitches, the double, the treble, the double. This is a granny stitch, granny special stitch we're going to call that. We're going to skip that stitch and then go to this this natural space you have here between 2 of these groups of stitches. You see here again a double, a treble, a double. So you've got that natural space. We're going to be working in there. In that space, start by making a double crochet. So this is kind of in that natural space there. Make a double crochet. Now again want to come down and work a treble. And if you come down to round 3, I believe it is, you see here these 2 double crochets. You see, if I just open this all up, you see those 2 doubles, those 2. In between those 2, going to work a treble. So you see here's the top of the stitch, so you not so much want the top of the stitch, because you see there's the top of the other stitch. See if I just open that up, see that's that. But between the 2, so nice and symmetrical, I'm going to insert the treble. twice over, then insert through the center between the posts, and then complete the treble. In the space, by coming back up, work a double crochet. And that's the repeat unit you're going to do all the way around. The corner, and then the this group of stitches, a double, a treble between the stitches, and the double. I'm going to show you the repeat once more, and then you can do the other two repeats without me. Going to the corner, so you're again going to skip those 3 stitches. In the corner, work a double crochet, a treble in the chain 2 space, 2 rows down, and work a double crochet in the chain 2 space, chain 2 and another double. This makes your new corner, then another treble again next to that last one, so just opening that up. So just get your hook in there, and you can see how I'm folding my work and holding my finger over where I don't want it. You see I've got that, my fingers covering that chain 2 space because I don't want to accidentally snag that. And the treble. And then there's one more double here at the back in the chain 2 space we were currently working in. On the straight edge, skipping these 3 stitches, go to this natural space that's kind of between those 2 groups, work a double. Now again the treble, so coming down, you see here the space between these stitches. I just open them up, you see here's the post and here's the post in there. That's where you want to insert your hook. So twice over, insert your hook in there. See how I'm folding my work to the back just to make sure that I don't grab anything else, want nothing else. You see this is still open, and then complete the treble. Then to the back, work another double. Now you've done the repeat 2 times. See there's a double, a treble that's in between those 2 stitches, and the double. So now you would again skip these last 3 stitches. In the corner, work that new granny corner. Then come here to the space and work the double, the treble between those 2 stitches, and the double again. Work another granny corner, and work your last set of 3 stitches before closing on your chain 3 with a slip stitch. If you want to change colors, you can cut your yarn, otherwise leave it attached and we'll just slip stitch to the corner again. Round 5, I have a slip knot on my hook, and we're going to start in any chain 2 corner space, doesn't matter where you start. I've now chosen to use a new color yarn, so I've fastened off my previous color. If you're using the same color yarn, you'll currently be in one of these stitches here. Just slip stitch to the chain 2 corner space, attach your yarn and take it from there. So this is in general how each and every time when I cut my yarn, if you don't want to, just slip stitch to the corner and then start again with that granny corner stitch. I'm going to change colors for this round. I've got a slip knot on my hook. I'm going to start with a standing double crochet in the chain 2 space. Also attaching your yarn here with a slip stitch and then doing a chain 3, that's also perfect. So we're doing a granny corner stitch. So that was the double crochet, twice over for the treble. Then I'm going to pull that open again because 2 rows down, grab your yarn and work the treble. Coming back up, work a double crochet. Just need more yarn, chain 2, which is your corner stitch, another double, and now again another treble here next to the treble you just made. So if I just open it up, there, that's where you want the treble. Twice over. 2, 3, and one more double crochet here to the back. We're going to have to just push your work to the side to really get into that space there, and work another double. That's your corner, that's your granny corner stitch you just made. We're now going to skip these next 3 stitches. So this is again a granny special stitch, the double, treble, double. You've got that space there. We're going to work in there, going to making a granny special stitch, then work one in here, and then come to the corner where we work another corner, and that's the repeat unit. So the corner, and then working in these 2 spaces. I'll show you how to do that. Exactly the same as we've done before, skipping those 3 stitches. In the space here, work a double crochet, kind of in that natural space there. Now, different from the previous round, we're going to work a treble. If you come down here, you see that treble. Going to work a front post treble around that treble. So that means twice over the front post. So I'm just folding my work to really get around this post. It's from right to left, underneath that stitch. So underneath the post of the stitch, you see there's kind of that opening there. In there, grab your yarn and complete the treble as normal. That's a front post treble. Then in the space here to the back, work another double crochet and complete the double. I'm going to skip these next 3 stitches and do here exactly what we did there. So again a double, work a treble around this treble, kind of the one that's immediately below here, around that one, and then work another double in that space. So a double crochet, twice over, treble, that's from right to left, pick up and complete the treble, and then to the back, in that space work another double crochet. I'm going to skip the last 3 stitches and then come to the corner. The corner, exactly the same as this corner, I'll just quickly show you. Double crochet, the treble is in there. You can see you really have to open that up to get that treble in there, so to really have room for your treble. Then a double crochet is in the top chain 2 loop, so this stitch is always over 2 sets of loops. It's a double, then a treble is again coming down, and then that last double crochet. You can see how this corner and that corner is exactly the same. So we're going to repeat on this edge, work in these 2 spaces there, work that double, treble, that would be around this stitch, a double, and do the same here. So work the treble around that stitch, and then work a corner again in this chain 2 corner space with this chain corner and that one there. So if I open this up there, so on those 2 sets of loops, go all the way around, and then I'll just show you how to close on a standing stitch with a slip stitch, just in case you've never done that before. Go all the way around and I'll just show you how to do the closing. So just to close on that first stitch, you see there's the standing stitch. So this one here has those 2 loops there at the top. Just insert your hook there through the top of that stitch, and then close with a slip stitch. What you may find is that if you unpick that slip knot, the knot here that's to the back, you'll find that your work actually looks nicer and your join is what's smoother. So if you unpick that knot, that will actually help the quality of your work. And then of course work away the yarn tail in the next round. I'm going to leave my yarn attached because in the next round I want to use the same color yarn. Round 6. Round 6 I'll spend again in a bit more detail, and after that the repetitions are very similar, and I'll just more talk you through the pattern than that I'll show you, because it's going to be a repetition of what we'll be doing in this round. I'm going to slip stitch to the chain 2 corner space. That's 1 and 2 and then 3, just to get to that corner space. I'm now going to work a corner exactly like I've done before, a granny corner stitch. Chain 3 as my first double crochet. You can also do a standing double here if you want. Treble, so if I come down, see if I open that up, work that treble in there. Now work another double in the chain 2 space, the top one, chain 2, and a double in the chain 2 space. Twice over for the treble, in there. And one more double. That's your new corner. We're going to skip the next granny special stitch. That's 1/2 of the corner. You'll notice that 1/2 of your corner is actually a granny special stitch. So you've got here the double, the treble, the double. You're going to skip that and come to this natural space here. Going to work a granny special in there. It's going to be a double, the treble around that one, and then another double. So in that space work the double crochet, then the front post treble, and then a double crochet in that same space to the back. And this you're also going to repeat in the next 2 positions. So in the next space here, so you see I'm going to skip those 3 stitches. In the next space work a double, then come down and work the treble. That treble, the front post treble, and then work another double, and the doubles again in that natural space there. That was 2 times. You need to do 3. So in that last space here, work a double. Then the front post treble around the front post that's here to the bottom, and then work another double. Next up is the corner, where you're going to repeat this corner. I'll just show you the corner. Work a double crochet in the corner in the chain 2 space, then the treble by opening that up, so really pulling your work apart to really get into that position. Be sure to miss the chain 2 space at the top, then a double in that top chain 2 space, chain 2 and another double, and then a treble in the lower chain 2 space, and then another double in that top one. And you can see how this corner is exactly the same as that corner. So repeat so this you're going to repeat on your next 3 edges also, and then close on that first stitch with a slip stitch. That means here in your spaces, going to work that granny special stitch, so that's the double, the front post treble, in this case around that stitch. I just turn, maybe that's easier for you. So in there work the double, in the front post treble and the double, and repeat that in these 2 spaces also. Then in the corner space work that granny corner, so that's with the treble in there. There's your treble. Repeat on all edges. And when you're here, after you've done this last granny special stitch, you're going to close on that chain 3 with a slip stitch. If you want to cut your yarn, then we'll use a new color for the next round. Otherwise, again, you're going to slip stitch to the corner and then take it from there. For round 7, 8, 9 and 10, you're in essence going to repeat round 6. Make a corner stitch, a granny special corner stitch, so that corner that we've always been making here, and then make those special stitches in the space in between. If I just open up this loop, because I've already done round 7 here, you can see the round 7 in the darker purple yarn. This is exactly the same as before, so I've done a corner here, and then in the space worked the granny special stitches. So you see there it's worked in the space, and that's worked in the space. So round 8 you would work now in these spaces here and then work a corner. Round 9 again the same, round 10 again the same. The difference is just that the number of repeats here between the corners increases by 1 for each round. So rounds 7 to 10 in essence repeat what you've just done. Just take note of how you do your color changes, whether you do the same color when one round goes to the next or you change colors. You can follow the description and the pattern, or you can of course also do your own color placement if you want to experiment a bit with the look of your square. So I'll see you again for round 11 when we'll do something slightly different. Round 11, going to work a round of front post single crochets around the entire square. Chain 1. This does not count as a stitch, it's just to get you up to the correct height. On the next 2 stitches work a front post single crochet. And 2. In the corner space, the chain 2 corner space, work 2 singles. 1 and 2. On the next straight edge, work a front post single in every stitch. Here's the first one. So I'm going to work a front post single crochet on every stitch. When you get to the corner, there's this stitch. Let me just see that I get all of them. Because you see here, sometimes you have, this is the granny special stitch, and you might just accidentally just snag that stitch there, so be mindful to get each and every stitch the correct stitch. So do a front post single crochet on every stitch. When you get to the corner, work 2 single crochets in the chain 2 corner space. Go all the way around, and when you get to the finish, I'll just show you how to do these last 2 stitches here. I'm almost to the beginning again. See, here are those first 2 front post stitches, so I still have a few more to do. 1, and then this stitch contains the chain 1, and I'm just also going to work a front post around that stitch. So even though you've made that chain 1, just ignore that chain 1. And now we can close on the first stitch. So that was this front post stitch here, that stitch. You can close on there with a slip stitch if you want. I'm actually going to close with an invisible join. The reason is that this edge we just made is going to stand upright in our design, and if I make an invisible join, it's just going to be a little bit neater and crisper. So I'm just going to cut my yarn, open this up, and then I'm going to thread my yarn on the needle, because doing invisible joins with a needle for me is just a bit easier than with my hook. Now if you look at the next stitch, so that's the stitch of which we would have made a slip stitch join. I'm going to skip that stitch, that's the first front post we made. I'm just going to go to the second front post, pull my needle through, and now what's going to happen is I'm going to make a second hat, basically a second hat on top of the stitch on this stitch here, and then come through the stitch I just worked, come through that, and then push my needle to the back. Like so. You can see here, this is the stitch I just made. This one, and it's on top of the single, of that front post single. If you look very well inside, you see there's that little loop. That's the top of the stitch. So I've given it a new hat. That's what we just made. And the stitches here to the back are still available, that I can still work in those for the next round. So I'm going to work away this yarn tail, and actually also the first one. I'm going to work away this yarn tail also, and then we're ready for the last round of this part. And you can see you've got this nice clean edge that's going to stay upright. Round 12. This is the last round of part 1. And this round I've got a new color yarn on my hook. We're going to work in the stitches from round 10. They are here to the back, because we made these front post stitches in the previous round, and at the back you'll see the top of those stitches that we made the front post around. So these stitches are still unworked, and we're going to be using those stitches. Going to work a single crochet in each of those 27 stitches to the back, and then we'll make the corner in a slightly different way. So start at any edge, doesn't matter which corner you choose. You see here's the chain 2 corner space where you've got those 2 single crochets in there, and this is the first front post stitch. That first front post stitch is also around a certain stitch, and that's the stitch we're going to start in. There. Start there with a standing single crochet. See, here's the single crochet, and here's the front post single, and the front post single is where we start, there to the back. Then that's the first of 27. 27 will bring you to the other side. So in the back here, in every stitch you work a single crochet. These are in the stitches from row 10, the top of those stitches. I'm going to work 27, which will bring me to the corner. I've got 2 more left. It's 26, and this here is 27. You can see this is on the last stitch. That last stitch there. The next one is this single crochet that we made here in the chain 2 space. Those 2 singles, those are the next 2 stitches. So that should be single crochet number 27. So you've now got from this edge to there, you've got 27 single crochets. Now for the corner, we're going to work a single chain 2 and a single, but we're going to work it in the chain 2 space between these 2 singles that you've made. You've got those 2 single crochets there in the chain 2 space that they worked in between them. That's where we're going to make it. So look, and don't stress too much about exactly where you make it, but in there, between, kind of behind those 2 single crochets in the chain 2 space. I just push my hook in there again. So 1 single, chain 2, that's your new corner, and in the same position another single. And what has happened is that the 2 single crochets from the previous round are really rolled forward now, and then those 2 singles make the new corner. As you can see here, they're really rolled forward there, those 2. Now we can continue on the next straight edge. That means that stitch is going to be the first of, again, 27 single crochets. So that's number 1 and 2. Continue this, you're going to go all the way around, work 27 singles on each edge, and then the corner, so that's single, chain 2 and a single. That means per edge you're going to have 29 stitches between the chain 2 spaces. And then you've completed part 1. So you go all the way around. When you get here to the first stitch, just close on that standing single crochet. So after you've done the corner here in that chain 2 loop, close on the first standing stitch. When you've finished round 12, close with a slip stitch, and then just put in a stitch marker in that closing stitch, because we're going to use the same color yarn for the next round in part 2. So leave your yarn attached and just put in a marker that you don't accidentally lose that loop. That brings us to the end of part 1. I want to thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time for part 2.